our builders hate us for doing this.
Because after 4.5 years, our luxury retreat is still not complete. We're getting very close, but a lot is left to be done. And on a project this big, we can't miss a single detail. So what does a builder have to say about the project so far?
All right, so we're back on site for 2026 and we're here at our biggest and best project for this year, which is Agape House. So the most exciting thing about Agape House was in the design phase, the client bought this incredible site and they wanted it for their family to live in, but they also knew that because of the insane amount of cost involved in investing into it, they wanted to have a business. And one thing that I've been obsessed about for the last 10 years is creating luxury holiday escapes. So designing this for me was really exciting. I was working with my client. He actually went and stayed at our bunker house and we talked about all the things you don't need and you do need in designing an Airbnb, but it's really cool to have a beautiful house that's going up in value, but it actually helps pay for itself as well. So that's one thing on this house that I'm really excited about, and seeing it come together now is super exciting because the scale of it is mental. I'll take you for a little tour so you can have a look. Right, so coming through here on the design phase was an incredible moment where you've got light coming through this massive oversized hallway. And then like I spoke about before with simplicity, we just got a nice neat rectangle with nice neat rooms all just coming off systematically almost. So the design has this beautiful simplicity into every room, which they're almost identical until you get to the main event at the end, which is this incredible oversized master, arguably the best view on the whole site. There's not one room in this house that isn't framed by that view. All right, so we're at the second dwelling, which is actually where our clients have decided to live in this one, and they're going to use the retreat as a business. And basically, when we did the design, this was just a little add-on that we were allowed. So when I was doing the DA, I sort of mentioned to the client, you know, you can have a second dwelling of this size. So we went, oh yeah, we'll just do that. And it was never a focus in the design phase. But now, as it evolved, we realized how good this little spot was. There's basically no difference between the view of the main house and this one, and the scale is actually massive. Like the ceilings are so high. So yeah, you can see the ceiling heights, the skylights sending all the light in. The view, every window is just framing that incredible view, looking out across the pool. It's definitely, you don't need any bigger for a standard size family. I think that's pretty good scale. Because of the insane wind load we had here, we've obviously got a lot of pressure on our frames. So we've oversized all our frames in 140 by 45 LVL, which is way stronger than a standard frame. And we've got big steel tie downs every 1.8 meters around the entire structure. And we've also incorporated steel portal frames as well to stop this house racking in the wind. And it also allows for more space for services and insulation, so we can pack the insulation in the walls, because this gets right down to 4 degrees in the winter and right up to 40 degrees in the summer. So it's a massive change. So insulation's key.
So we are basically weather tight. There's a couple of windows or glass pieces still missing. But other than that, we've got our doors in, we've got the glass in, everything's looking great, and we are busy roughing in. So what does that? That does mean the electrical, all the services are being put in. So you can see cables running everywhere, plumbing is in, everything's getting put in. We just got aircon coming, and then we've got basically can start insulating and sheeting. So it's moving along really quickly. Once you get to this stage, it starts moving real fast. So something to keep in mind, you only get to rough in really once, right? Otherwise, once gyprock goes on, it becomes very difficult and messy to add new cables or anything like that. And anyone who has done a reno before or renovation understands this. So my advice is run as many cables as you physically can, knowing that you may not fit it off, but think about the future. And so what I've done in this build is I've added cables to things like we don't need a bar fridge, but we're getting a bar fridge point run in case. We're not gonna fit it off, we're going to just get the cable there. We've also done things like networking. So wherever we want to run a network cable, we run 2. Because if one breaks, there's a spare one right there. This is a great tip from my brother-in-law to do that, especially because he deals with networking all the time. The labor is the expensive part, not the cable. So if anything goes wrong, you've got the runs are all there. I really do think it's worth overdoing it. It costs a little bit more, but to do it later costs way more. So get that done. All right, so this is our bathroom in our, oh, they've actually cut the floor out even. So this is real nice. It's the first time it's level. So what we have here is the toilet, which is the in-wall cisterns, which is really, really nice from Astra Walker. And then we've got all the rough-in kits all as well from Astra Walker, which are really nice. But you can see how much is involved in actually getting a bathroom together. So many pipes, all these things that you put in. In here, we've also even got like a overhead shower. We've got taps. So again, over-provisioned in many ways. The same with the electrical, again, in the bathroom. Like we've allowed for power in here, power in the shaving cabinet, and then the taps and downlights and your extractor fans. It's all in here. So our builders hate us for doing this, but it's something that is a bit hard to avoid. So what we've done is we originally designed this whole area as a timber deck. Now I've had a sample of timber. It's actually a piece of teak, so it's like the best, like it's really high quality out, you know, they use it on boats. But what we've noticed is it starts to like kind of very finely splinter or dry out and age. It changes color. Obviously it loses color over time, and you have to maintain that if you want to keep the color in there or the tannins. The whole building has been built for that. So what we have to do now is we have to pull up all the work. We have to waterproof all the edges so that water doesn't run in, because we ideally want to have a level surface here. We have to add stainless steel drains to each one of these doors so that the rain falls in and then can be drained out, and we have to chase new drains into the concrete. So it's a pretty big error on our behalf. But the reason why is because I was under the belief that timber decking is cheaper than stone. Turns out, it's much of a muchness. It's very similar in price. So if I had known that, I would have spec'd stone, but it didn't. So I thought timber, but then at the end of the day, it's actually very expensive anyway. So we're doing that, most likely. We're just checking a few things, but it is an expensive mistake. I've been trying to do this along the whole build, is trying to say, make it so that we can do both, which is very difficult to do. But there's a very specific way you do tiles. Like they've done it on that dwelling and it's all good to go. But on this dwelling, we haven't done it and it was entirely my fault. So it's a cost that I'm gonna have to wear. And the trades love to redo work. So they're all very excited about it and frothing to actually get ripped in.
You would think that it's obvious that buying a property with no road, no electricity, no water would be a bad idea. It would not be for people who are building for the first time. It seems obvious in hindsight, and it's probably something we should have considered. But we know Agape is going to be something special, so these problems are worth it. We've gone through the road problems, we've built the bridge, we've got our foundations in, and now the frames are starting to take shape. What used to just be a figment of our imagination is now coming to life. We're super excited to see how this is turning out, and it's becoming more than what we ever imagined. There is only one thing hanging over the top of our heads, is can we finish this thing with the money that we've allocated? We started with a very strict budget, which very quickly doubled. We had to sell our house to get here, and we hope that it's all going to be worth it.